Of all the countries, why Nepal? How did that come to be? And how did Puma start? Okay, it's real simple, and I'll answer all three of those questions together. I was working for Calvary Chapel in the bookstore in 1996. I was sitting at the desk, and it was late summer, and we had the first part of the project done. The sanctuary was done, but the school and the furthest back part of the school was not done. And a lady who was from Trinidad, working in New York City, was employed by Charlie Haddad, who made all the clothing for Nike. And right at that time, somewhere, whatever time of year it was, the Cleveland Browns football team closed down the franchise. You ever hear this story? They closed the franchise down. And she called me. She called me directly to that number with my name. And she said, "Is this Steve Simpson?" I said, "Yes." She said, "Hi, my name is Donna so-and-so. I'm from Kids in Distress Situations in New York. And I have clothes and I want to know if you want any." And now she got my name. I didn't know she knew anything about me. I didn't have a nonprofit yet, which was another reason to have a nonprofit. And I said, "Okay." I said, "What do you got?" She said, "I have beautiful, brand new boys and girls, brown and orange Cleveland Brown jackets and sweaters and hats. I have everything." I said, "Great." I'm thinking 5-10 boxes. She said, "But I have a lot of it." I said, "That's okay, I'll take it." She said, "Okay, just send me a letter that you received it." I said, "Fine." She said, "What's your address?" I gave her the address for the church. "When's it coming?" "It'll be there on such and such a date." I said, "Okay, is it UPS? Is it FedEx?" She said, "No, it's a tractor trailer." And she said, "It's 3 tractor trailers, and you have to give 1 tractor trailer to somebody down on Allegheny Avenue," which I did. So I wound up with 2 tractor trailer loads. It was 52 pallets of clothes, and all winter clothes. So I said to Joe, he just said, "Okay." So the building wasn't done all the way at the end near the veterinarian, so I stored it over there so I could move it. And slow but sure, I got it out. Actually, it went all over the world. It went to Eastern Europe. A lot of it went to Mexico. Some of it went up into the UK. It went everywhere. But what's that? School went everywhere. A lot of it went to Nepal, but a lot of it went to Baja, Mexico, for the people that work in the picking. They pick the vegetables from for all the vegetable companies. Because it's really cold at night. So I didn't know what to do with it. I was stuck with a lot of it. So I knew one missionary guy. His name was Mark. He worked for World Evangelical Outreach in Florida. So I called him. I don't even know how I knew him, but I called him up on the phone. But we had the phone. I called him up. I said, "Hey, Mark, Steve, yeah, how you doing?" I said, "I got all this clothes. How much do you want?" I said, "I can give you as much as you want. You're a missionary." He said, "I work in the Amazon. I don't need coats." That's exactly what he said. He said, "But I was just reading Christianity Today, and there's this guy from Nepal coming on the 700 Club." I said, "Really? When's that going to happen?" He said, "He's coming in." It was either November or December of '96. I said, "Wow, thanks a million." I said, "How do I get the contact?" And I don't think we even had like a lot of internet then. It was just starting. But somehow I got this guy's name, Ram Sharam, Nepal, from Nepal, Simon Peter. So that's his name, Ram Sharam, Nepal, and Tina, Simon Peter, and Mina. So I got a hold of him, and I actually got a hold of him and called him on the phone. I had to go get permission to use the phone and make a long. He says, "Yes, I'm coming to do the 700 Club. When I'm done, I'll drive up and visit with you." So that all happened from the coats. So he drove up, met with Jerry, Frank, Joe, and some other people. I think it was a Wednesday or a Sunday night. It was one of those 2 nights. And we listened to him. I listened to his spiel, asked a lot of questions. We said, "See you later." And then Joe said to me, "What do you think?" I said, "I don't know." He said, "Well, pick a guy and go over and check it out." And I got Eddie LaGuardia. That was November, December. I got Eddie LaGuardia. And in February of '97, Eddie and I flew from JFK to the UK, and the UK on to, I think we were in the UK, on to Kathmandu. Met Simon Peter, and we spent 5 days touring the country. And I came back and I gave my report. I said, missionary medical health care is the way to go. Everybody's sick. Little kids are dying from a simple infection. For $1.50, we'll give them, they'll be fine, blah, blah, blah. I said, okay, put a trip together. So then I put the trip together. Paul Caracappa he just out of med school. Eddie Fuentes just out of med school. And a bunch of other people I put, and Ryan Estelle was a student.
Yeah.
With Adele's husband.
Yep. Carrie Marcucci.
Carrie Marcucci. And a bunch of other people. And we went, and in August of 97, I learned what a monsoon was. I had no idea. We went there.
August.
Oh, 90s, the height. And we were intense. And after the first night, we got up and our shoes were gone because the water came so hard under the tent, it washed our shoes away. So we were down in the weeds and the bushes waiting for shoes, looking for shoes. So in the morning, we dug a big trench around the tent so that the water wouldn't come under the tent. It was that bad. So that's how it got started. How did you gather the teams to go to Nepal? And who were they? Well, I don't know all their names, but I would announce it from the pulpit at Calvary, Philly. I would say there's a trip.
Hands down.
A whole host of people. Lydia Rodriguez, Glenn Goffin, Harris, and then Denny would go, John, of course. And every time we went, there was different medical people. They just showed up. And then other Calvaries got on board. Calvary, Delaware County had a lot of people. Calvary, Westchester. How did you meet Simon Peter? I just told you. How did you divide the teams from Gorkha and Chitwan? That was only on one trip. That's because we had 35 people. So I thought it would be great to do 2 missions at one time, which really turned into a disaster. It wasn't a good idea. And we had a certain individual with us that year who was a doctor who caused an enormous amount of problems. I won't say his name, but he just caused me a lot of grief, which I heard about for years. What was the mission trip for 1997 and 1999? That mission trip, the first one was Simon Peter, Thantipokari, below Ward 1, which where you were from. And 97, in August of 97, your mom showed up with you, and Paul saw you. I brought him out of the tent when your mom showed up, and I said, you now have to see this kid. And he said, I'd never seen anything like that. Even in med school, I'd never seen nothing, because your legs were ravaged and your back and all that. So I said, let's do something. He said, I can't do anything. I said, we got to do something. He said, there's nothing you do. So we were very, very upset. We gave your mom a bunch of gauze and stuff and showed her how to change your dressings and try to get you not to drag your feet in the dirt and all that. And 98, I went back to the same place. We weren't working there. We were working down in Chitwan. And I drove all the way up there in 98 in the summer. Remember, it was raining. You would have learned by now. And drove all the way up to Thantipokari and went into the police station because that's where I met KC, who became my friend. He was the policeman there. Still friends with him. And I went in and they said, no, she died. She's not here anymore. She's died. And we were like, oh no, we're slaughtered. And came home, went back down to south. The next year, we did Thantipokari all over again. And that was the last trip with Simon Peter. And it was the last day of the last trip. I got up real early. The sun was just coming up. It was just gray out. And it was all foggy, and the fog was like you couldn't see where you were walking. It was really weird. And we were sleeping in the new church, and the food tent was all the way down the other end. So I was making my way down there, and I went in, and I remember there was Captain Crunch, but no milk. And I was really bummed. So I had a flashlight, and it was just gray out. It was gray. It was really spooky looking. You couldn't see anything. You only see gray. It was weird. It was fog. And I had a white paper cup plate, bowl, and I was eating Captain Crunch. I was so hungry. And I walked out, and there was your mom standing there with you in the fog. I remember that. There's a big blanket over. Everybody was just standing. It was like spooky. I was like, wow. Yeah, hello, yeah. So we went back up, and that's when we said, okay, we'll try to figure out. She's not dead, And then that's when I came back home, and we started fishing around. And I was working at Calvary, Philly, and I was walking down the hallway where you would go into the blue gym. walking towards the back of the building, and Joey Ergot was like, "Hey, Steve, I thought hey, you look too good today. What's the matter?" I said, "Well, I just came back from Nepal." I said, I found this girl again. I thought she was dead. She ain't dead. She's still alive. She looks horrible. So nothing's better. She's worse." And I said, "I have to figure out a way to get her here, and then I have to find a doctor that'll do it. Maybe, I don't know who. Somebody will do it for free because we can't afford it." "Oh, well, listen. My wife's sister's husband, he does that kind of work down in Georgia." I said, "Really?" His name was Mark, right? Mark, yeah. Yeah, I said, "Good, Joe. Give him a call. So Joey calls him up. Like 2 days later, "He'll do it." I said, "What?" "Yeah, and his buddies at Baptist,
Mark Goldman, yeah.
Mark Goldman. And his buddy is little Joey. He's like, Joey, and Joey's like, and his buddy's a bone guy. He's some Baptist dude. He said he'll fix her legs." I said, "Are you?"
That's we went to that other hospital to see. I
Right.
forget his name.
I said, "Are you serious?" I said, "Well," and they got a Ronald McDonald House right there. She can stay there. I said, "This is too good to be true." So I called everybody up. They said, "Yeah, just give us the dates. Tell us when she's coming. Blah blah blah." So then I'm thinking, okay, she can't sit in a seat for back then. You can't do that. So I called Bill Bresnahan up, my buddy Bill, who everybody hates. He's a great guy. And Bill Bresnahan, I called him. I said, "Hey, Bill, I got a problem. I need 3 tickets. I need you to purchase me 3 tickets from Kathmandu to Philadelphia to New York." He said, "What, are you serious?" I said, "Come on, Bill. You're sitting on a lot of dough. Get off it. Help me out here." He said, "Oh, all right. I'll do my best." I said, "But they got to be business class tickets. She can't sit in a regular seat." he went off the charts. So I talked Bill into it. He buys 3 business class tickets. Right? And out of this, so now I call Arlen Spector's office. And I'm talking to this guy, Anthony Cunningham. I said, I got to get help with these visas. I got to get them here right away. This girl needs operations. She's going to die, blah, blah, blah. And you don't want to talk to me. You want to talk to Tom Bowman. I said, "Look, Jack, I want to talk to you. You're in Philadelphia." "Tom Bowman? He's up in Potter County." He said, "Yeah, we know, but you need to talk to him." I said, "No, I want to talk to you. I'm going to come down here at 6th and Arch. I work here in the city. There's 12,000 people come to the church, a lot of votes. I'm giving them the whole thing." He said, "I understand that, Mr. Simpson, but trust me, you want to talk to Tommy Bowman. Here's his number." And he gives me Tom Bowman, is a flaming radical evangelical Protestant. So I get him on the phone. He can't wait to do everything. We wind up going to his church. We took Potom up there one time when he was here, and John Peters and Harry, Dave, we were there. At that time, I become dear friends with Tom, and I buy his daughter's property in the mountains. 18 acres with a camp. So I got a good deal out of it. So he gets on it. He said, "This is no problem. I'll take care of this." Boom. We had the visas in no time, and she came over. That's how it happened.
Wow.
Is that crazy?
That is crazy.
That's
crazy. God.
So when did you see me? What was it like? I just told you. How did you come in with doctors from Georgia? When I was in Georgia, who took care of me? Ronald McDonald. That's who took care of you. Mm-hmm. How did you get updates and information? I was talking with Mark, actually. And then you were there for a long time. Mark Goldman. And I talked to the Baptist guy, to the leg guy. And then when that was all over, what did we do? How did we do that?
How'd you get her back up here? Because when we went to Georgia, they told us the one lady who would take them back and forth to Ronald McDonald House every day. She wasn't in the hospital that long.
No, she wasn't.
She stayed at Ronald McDonald House, and then her dad and Saucy, I guess, brought her to the hospital every day.
We were there the day of surgery. We all went down.
And the nurse, she's not a nurse, but she worked for the doc then. She would be the one who picked them up in her truck and brought them over.
Right. Yeah. I have a feeling, I don't think you came up here from Georgia.
Because I stayed at your house.
Yeah, but
and I met your mom.
She was using a walker at the time, so this was after surgery.
You went back and came back again.
Yeah.
I went back to Nepal and came back.
Yeah.
What?
Because at our house, she was using a walker, a little tiny walker.
Was it before the surgery, maybe?
No.
That she came here?
No, it was after, because she couldn't stand up before, right?
So she came in 1999 for the surgery, and then she came again?
Unless she came up here after the surgery. It's one of the two. If she came up here after the surgery, where would she have stayed?
Because she met your mom, she said.
Right. My mom loved her, yeah.
Well, she stayed at our house for a little bit.
Oh, you know what? They did. They came to our house. Because I remember her dad stayed in the middle room. Right? Yeah. They were there for several days.
Yeah.
And then that's when she met my mom.
So Matt had to not be there. I don't think Matt was.
Yeah. Well, 99, where was he? Was he in school? Was he in California?
California.
Yeah, that's what it was. And her dad slept on the sofa. Sashi slept on the floor, and she slept in the middle room.
Yeah.
That's what it was. And then
No, I think she was in Kelly's room.
whatever. Then from there, I just don't remember what airport they flew at. I don't think it was Philadelphia.
Probably JFK.
It was JFK, but
My guess.
getting back
Back then.
going up there. I'm blanking on it. I think we went up in a van now. In fact, was it Rick Bruce? Somebody had a van. Yeah, I think somebody drove you up to JFK. That's what it was.
I'm thinking that bone doc in Georgia, maybe his name is Schaefer or something. I have it at home in Nepal, his name. I have his card.
You know who will fill in some of these blanks? Will be Harry. You know?
Harry's uncle?
Yeah.
He did.
Denny would. So, who gave me the official name of Patti? Not me. I think that was Mary Dee.
I think it was a nurse down in Georgia.
Yeah, we thought like it was either your mom or one of the nurses.
Well, what is your real name?
Viewers Patti.
I thought it was Patti.
And then someone gave me the name.
I thought it was Mary. Mary will know. That's
But
a question
she
for
said
me.
it was either your mom or the nurse.
And it was
It
one of those two.
could have been the nurse down in Georgia. Because they couldn't say Viewers Patti probably, so they just shortened it
Yeah.
to Patti.
Yeah.
You know, that makes sense.
Oh.
That's ringing a bell.
Yeah.
How long was I in the States? Not long. You were, well, no, you stayed at Ronald McDonald House 8 weeks. That was 8 weeks. So, a day or two for the surgery in the hospital, 8 weeks. Then you came up here, and you weren't up here long at all. Week maximum.
I think it's
5
3
days.
months.
Not 10 weeks, yeah. 10 weeks is a really pretty accurate. How long did I stay with you? Well, we got really tired of you. You were going to stay a couple of weeks, 2 days. Now you were with us. I remember I took you down to my mom's. Not long, 4 or 5 days maximum. I just remember your dad and Sashi watching The Wizard of Oz. We had it on the VCR. Your dad loved it. Your dad, it was in English. Your dad loved it. We watched it every night.
Every night.
Yeah, him or Sashi was watching it every night.
That's funny.
Yeah, you're not kidding. So how long was I in my village after I came back from America before you mean? You're not there long because when you went back to Tanti up to ward number 1, when we came back, when you went back, we were right behind you by a month, maybe. And I remember walking up that hill. I thought I was going to have a heart attack.
And Dennis' uncle was with you?
Dave Keogh, because I remember we closed the door on Dave Keogh's hands twice. He closed it on himself, actually. You know, the guy works with machines all day. Twice in one day, he closed the top of the door, slammed it shut with his hand around the top. Twice. We were laughing at him. Sorry, Dave. Anyway, so we went all the way back up there, and we went to your house, and you either had a walker or we took you a new walker. And I have the video of that somewhere. I'll find it.
Somewhere.
And I have a box of videos. And I can find it. And we have a video of you walking with the walker, etc. In fact, you had a dress on. You were all dolled up. And we determined there, we said, this is
red.
we said this is never going to work. This is never going to work. So we were in your house. Do you remember my mom gave you a doll. She gave you a little baby black doll. And I remember your dad had it stuck up in a hole in the wall. I don't know what it was. I don't know what that was all about.
Worship corner?
Maybe. I think
Could
that's
be.
what it was, yeah. I didn't want to go there, but I thought that was. So anyway, yeah, you weren't there long when we said, no, you're coming down. And how you got down, I don't know, but you got back down to Kathmandu, and that's where you've been. So how long was I in the States? How long did I stay with you? How long was I in my village? I'm telling you, maybe 2 months. Not long. Your mom should remember. Before you brought me to Kathmandu.
I'm thinking that doc in Georgia, the orthopedic, is McCluskey.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
McCluskey.
I just
Good.
found him online.
That's it.
Yeah.
I should be an Irish guy. Irish guy.
And there was
And
another
he
one
had
too,
given me
3 doctors.
his business card. He said if we ever need him to call him.
Yeah.
We should send him some. You should call him. Or
Yeah. I
We
wanna
went
go
to
back
see him.
Georgia.
did you see him? See?
When we were in Georgia, we went to see Mark Goldman and him.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I want to go back to Georgia.
All right, let's go. How long was I in my village? What made you start a children's home? Denny Skinnell.
Yeah.
Denny said you need to go home. We don't have a home. Then he said, okay, let's go. And he rented him a room which I never saw. And so this was either the beginning of 98 or very late 97.
So this is your first trip.
This is after the first trip.
Okay.
So it had to be into 98 because Dennis started coming in 98 with me. It may have been even 99. He was in the street walking somewhere and he saw these kids playing soccer or something. And he was messing around with them, playing a game. And he said, it's getting cold, why don't you go home? And they said, well, we don't really have it at home. And Denny, being Denny, said, wait, we'll get a room. And from there, it's a blur. I don't know how it happened, but somehow Shashi got in the mix, I think through Denny.
Okay.
Because Denny was there and he paid in advance for the room for
Like
these
a month,
kids.
he said. Yeah.
Something like a month. Gave the guy money and some money for food, and we trusted him. And I think then I was either getting ready to go back or I went back, and we went, and I don't know who was at the point. I think it was Shashi. We went and looked at the house all the way past where we're at on the road to Chapagan, way down. You have to go through a little town, and then you come into Chapagan somewhere. And there was this bombed out joint on the left. It was totally bombed out. I think we rented it for $30 or $25 or $30 or $40 a month. And we had to buy, John Peters was with me and Dave Keogh and Denny. And we had to buy a big black thing for water, to hold the water. And we had to buy a pump. And we had to put the pump in there and hook the hose up. And John and Dave were doing it all. And we got water up to the kitchen. And that started it all. And I'm telling you from there, Shashi was there, and that was it. That started it. And I think we had, when I left, there was probably 6 or 7 kids. And then when I was going back and forth a lot, I don't even know how I used to contact him, to tell you the truth. I think I just called his phone, or I don't know if we had cell phones then.
What was the lady's name?
And then
Mrs. Thappa.
Mrs. Thappa came on board as the cook. And then it got real crowded, and the place was cold because I slept there a couple of times and it was freezing cold. So then we went down and we looked at the place where we had the big house, the big brown house. And I remember driving by it, and I said, I don't know who was with us. I think by then we picked up Patti. And we went through it and looked at it, and it was empty, and there was pigeons in there, and there was pigeon poop all over. I just remember it was like, oh, wow. They were at the top of the staircase. There was like pigeon crap all over. So we called for the landlord. Forget his name. The father. And I remember it was a hot day, and John had on, it was me and John and Dennis and Potom. No, it couldn't have been Potom. It was Shashi, because Shashi was still with us in that building. And we were up on the very top where the water geyser was. We were up there, it was so hot. And we're going back and forth with this guy like forever. I mean, it was like, it was getting to be hours. We're deliberating. It was like a United Nations meeting. It was a World Bank meeting. So he wants $800. I'm like, you're crazy. You know what I mean? You're looking at the funding right here. We're going to fund this thing. We didn't have any funders. We had nothing. It was just starting to take root. Back and forth and back and forth. Then we get down and we'd walk through it all, and we came back up and we talked again. And we were out on the porch, and then we climbed all the way up top, took the little spiral thing up, and we got all the way up top, and we're looking out over the city. And we're back and forth. And John, like, he's red, his nose is real red, he's sweating, he's got coveralls on. It's like 99 degrees out. It's brutal. Finally, did I ever tell you a story?
Go ahead.
Finally, John says, all right. He's exasperated. He says, all right. And he's Shashi's interpreting, all right, whatever. His frustration. And John says, look, a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. Like this country thing that only John would say. A bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. And the guy's like, he's like short. All right, okay. So we got it for $400. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
But the crazy thing is, so we got to be good friends. He invited us over his house a couple trips later. We had this big dinner, and he showed us his safe, and he had all these coins, like hundreds and hundreds of year-old Nepali coins. He was a coin collector, very wealthy. So somehow I got talking with him. I think Potom's on the scene now. And I got talking with him, and I said, look, would you, because we had like a lot of kids, and we were jammed in that kitchen. The kitchen in the Brown house in the old home. There was no addition.
Yeah.
Ever tell you a story?
Yeah.
So I said to the guy, I said, look, do me a favor. I said, I'll give you something. I don't have a lot of money, but it's too crowded. Can you put a doorway in the back and just put a little 20 by 20 room, put a little room out there so that we can have that as a kitchen. So we don't have to have the kitchen where we cook. We can put the kids in there to give us more room. And I went back another trip later, and that's when I saw the footprint for that new 3-story thing going up. That was a door, all that kitchen and all that was him. He paid for that. He did everything. That's crazy.
I can remember Mary Ellen calling you and saying, Steve, they delivered more bricks.
Yeah.
Yeah, the new building, right?
The
The
door
one in
building,
the back. The one in the back.
Because
So-
it was built when we moved. Like, it was just getting built.
Yeah, the old house, the kitchen was tiny, and we had a side door, and the floor had the big hatch that you lifted up, and the water cistern was under the floor
In the kitchen.
in the kitchen. And when I got there and I saw the footprint of the new building going up, I said, oh my gosh, this is huge. And I thought it was 1 story. When he told me it was going to be 3 stories or 2?
Yeah.
I was 2.5. Because
Yes.
then Philip wound up going
Yes.
up there. But that's right. By then, Mary was there, and Mary was really running the show. And I think at one point, we had 85 kids or something between the houses. So
75, yeah.
worked out
Who's
great,
counting?
which was fine with me. It turned into just a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
How did you find Sashi? And I
You
don't
said.
know how that brother. I think it was Dennis. I think Dennis. I mean, who knows how it happened? It's a mystery. Nobody knows how it happened.
My dad said he was just coming back from Japan or something, and then he just jumped in our case.
He did. He just came back from Japan.
Yeah.
And Dennis met him somehow
Yeah.
on the street or something at a coffee. I don't know. Nobody's ever going to know. I don't know how the kids transferred from the room that he rented to the room in Chapagown. I don't know how that happened. I just know I went one day and there was all these kids there. And then it was like, Sashi was like, I don't know what to do. I said, well, got to hire somebody. And then we started to learn about wiring and how to move money. And there was still no phones. We had to go all the way down to Ring Road, the block before Ring Road, across from the paint stores. There was a little store there with the STD thing. And I had to go in there and wait in line. And you'd have to wait. And it was $1.50 or $1.25 a minute. And it was a tiny little phone on a desk. and you were in a room with 15 people.
And all of them are there talking and talking while you're trying to talk on the phone.
Yeah, or they're listening to your phone. And now I started talking in English. Everybody stopped and looking at me. So I think we that's what then I went back to Bill. I said, Bill, I need sat phones. You got to buy me satellite phones, which he did.
Mm-hmm.
He wound up buying us one or two, and I wound up buying two more at one point. No, I bought one more. We have three. I still have them somewhere up there. And they became instrumental in communicating.